Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say Happy New Year and welcome to the first President's Campfire Chat of 2024. We are going to have an exciting kind of bit of news today. We have a whole bunch that's happened, even though the holidays were happening and there wasn't a whole lot of communication happening. There was a lot going on behind the scenes. And I would really like to kind of give you an overview of the things that we're going to talk about today so you can kind of skip ahead if you're here later. But we're going to introduce a new executive council member that we have. We're going to talk about an exciting off-roading event that's coming up in February. We're going to go through the website development that we have with some of the website development team, and then talk about one of the clubs who is transferred over to the new website setup, so they can give you a kind of a feel of what they've come to. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited to see everybody, and we will have some time for questions. So feel free to start putting questions in the chat as we go. I want to introduce our new Chief Visionary Officer, who's going to come in a second, and it is Matt Gaskins. Matt, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today. I just wanted to kind of give you a second to give us a little bit of your history and who you are, where you come to, and then we'll start talking about where you fit into the world of the Rivian clubs.
Thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate the intro, and it's really nice to see you all. My name is Matt Gaskins, and I believe that experiencing the outdoors has a way of changing you and shaping how you view the world. It informs your decisions, and it really has the ability to inspire. I grew up in Colorado, and I had the honor of being able to explore the backcountry here in Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Nevada over the last 25-ish years when I started riding dirt bikes, then eventually 4x4s. And I really just enjoyed my time outdoors. My professional path, however, led me down the accounting, finance, treasury track, which is not really conducive to spending a lot of time outdoors. When I learned about Rivian in early 2019, my off-road mentor actually introduced me to the brand and got me really excited. And I really spent every single day after learning about Rivian, seeing out how I could potentially join the company. So I started looking at the career page every single day and wanted to join Rivian to add value, to try to get into the ecosystem, to see if there was a way to combine my personal passion with my professional kind of resume. I joined Rivian in December of 2019 to help establish the treasury risk management functions, with an eye of always getting closer to the product and being able to potentially go off-road in the future. I kind of there was a serendipitous moment where I got the call to help with Motor Trend's Trans-America Trail cross-country scouting trip, and that evolved into being able to help with the R1T launch in Breckenridge. I was actually had the honor of planning the route, scouting the route, running it, and then leading it for the journalists back in September of 21, which was the honor of a lifetime, truthfully, and really just opened my eyes to this new world where I was able to transition out of treasury and into special projects. So I spent a couple years in special projects, helped launch R1S in Monticello in New York. I launched the Tread Lightly partnership when I was at Rivian. And then I left Rivian earlier, I guess now it's last year, about 7 months ago or so, in 2023, to really kind of pursue my passion in teaching people to be good trail stewards, how to be safe and how to be responsible as you go off-road, and equip people to be adventurous on their own and to connect with groups of like-minded folks. That's kind of when I intersected with the RCA board. I met Ryan Reel and Scott at some of the events when I was at Rivian, and reached out and said, hey, can we do something where we can kind of help work together to make sure that we have access to things like public land in the future, through stewardship projects, through volunteerism, and honestly just being the best stewards we can as we explore off-road, leading with kind of safety and staying on the trail and making sure that we're doing our part to ensure that this access can be open for folks in the future. So that's kind of like the short version of how I came to be. And I'm really honored to be a part of this organization. And I'm really excited to go ahead, have the opportunity to go out into the community and meet with more folks and do trainings and things like that. So lots of fun stuff, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and I think, having gotten to know you over the last month or two of the times that we've been able to talk and talk about what it is uh, that we want you to be able to bring to the Rivian clubs. I think you're a perfect fit for that. I think we're really blessed to have made the connections and you having the time right now to spend helping us form those beginnings of what we see of the future, and that's again why we're calling your position the chief visionary officer. And so let's talk a little bit about what we have kind of already concocted, what we've already kind of thought about for the first quarter, and where we want to go from there, because I know that it's going to happen more in the West right now, but we're going to expand it because we want to expand to the rest of the nation as well.
Yeah. No, I thank you for that. I think that this is a tremendous opportunity for us to not just be a stronger community, but to become one of the best clubs truly anywhere in the world, especially when you look at the off road space. And one of the ways that we can do that is by leading with world class training on teaching people how to become very good trail leaders and trail stewards. And so there's going to be a mix of online educational tools that we're rolling out. But the most exciting thing I think we're doing here in the near term is in person trainings. So we're going to be doing trainings where folks who want to become trail leaders in their local clubs can say, hey, I want to learn more about how to do this and do it the right way. And we're always going to lean very heavy into the safety aspect of it. So we're going to equip people with the right tools on how to safely lead tours. And this isn't necessarily just when you're doing an official event. This is every time you go off road. What are the things that you need in your kit to be safe? Oftentimes, you'll come across people on the trail who may need assistance. How can you do that? How can you negotiate passing people when you're off road using the proper etiquette? How do you control group dynamics? If there are potential sensitivities of where you're driving, like if you're in Utah and there's cryptobiotic soil, or you're in high alpine environments, you may have sensitive vegetation around alpine tundra. How do you figure out what those things are and how to avoid creating resource damage? And how do you do this in a way that is not just avoiding damage, but it's inspiring others to learn more and to be more connected to what we're doing to protect this access in the future? And so, what we're going to do is lead with best practices, not just in the mechanics of how to drive, but also things like how to manage groups, how to work with public land managers to ensure that what we're doing is responsible based off of the seasonality, based off of weather conditions, based off of soil conditions, and then partner with those land managers to figure out how we can help them. For example, in Arizona, there's over 60,000 miles of OHV trails. And as of last year, there are only 7 public land managers to effectively manage that entire system. That's unsustainable. So, how can we partner with those folks and say, we have people who are engaged that want to help protect this access for the future? We know that you're stressed. What issues can we help you with? And how can we alleviate that pressure on the system? And so, here in Q1, we have the King of the Hammers event, which I know we're going to talk about here shortly. But then we're also going to do one in-person training for people who say, "Hey, I want to become a trail leader. How can I help?" And then also online Zoom or StreamYards or Google Meets, where we're going to talk about these things. You don't have to be in person to learn all this stuff. You can work on it in between. So, like, how do you up your game when it comes to first aid, for example? You have CPR, but then in addition to CPR, you have basic first aid, and then wilderness first aid, and then wilderness first responder. So equipping folks on those tools of how to use a map and a compass. I'm spoiled. I think we're all spoiled with this little device we carry on us. But something that always concerns me is if my route is planned here and I'm taking this really cool selfie on the edge of a cliff and I drop it, I'm kind of screwed. especially if I don't know how to read a map and a compass. So how do we equip um, teams and individuals with those tools to go out and to be safe? So really exciting stuff. I can't wait to share more about what's coming up.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I really appreciate that the idea that we're putting safety first, but we're not limiting safety to just safety of the individuals, but safety of the resources and safety of the trails that we're on. And I think that'll lend itself really well to doing projects where we're helping to restore habitats and or trails, and keeping with that the ethos of why we bought Rivians in the first place. We want to be able to go out and see really awesome natural stuff, and we want to be there and protected as well. So I think those are
That's
really awesome.
I love that you said that, Arn, because that's what appealed to me so much, not just about the brand of Rivian, but who owns Rivians. It's some of the most caring, thoughtful people I've ever met. And when you have something that you come together around shared values, it's incredible the work that you can do and the change that you can have. And that's truly what I hope that we do as a community is the positive impact that we have on the environment and the resources and the places that we live. I mean, there's really just an unending list of things that we can do to make a positive difference, including, like you mentioned, helping with restoration projects. There's some really cool stuff that I think that we have all throughout the country where people can get engaged in those communities, partner with people like scientists and researchers to really make our communities more resilient and our ecosystems more resilient as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think it's great that we're kind of starting the year with a bang, right? We're getting out, and in February, we've been invited to partner with Optima Batteries and Clarios and participate at the Unplugged event that is going to be at the Optima Oasis in outside of the King of the Hammers event, but in the 40s. And so let's talk a little bit about what this event is and how we're going to interact with it.
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying, and this is kind of funny now in hindsight, that when this event was being discussed, I wasn't necessarily sure if King of the Hammers was the right venue for our club and our enthusiasts. And full disclosure, I've never been because the rock crawling scene wasn't necessarily part of my vernacular. But when we talked with the organizers of Optima and Tread Lightly, who will be there as well, I was really impressed by how thoughtfully planned that they made this event to make it safe, family friendly, and really engaging. They really care about the electric vehicle community, and they are incredibly enthusiastic. I absolutely love what they've done with their R1S here that you see. But Cam really, really impressed me with just how much thought they put into this. And so when we discussed if we want to show up, we kind of talked about how we want to show up and what it is that we want our voice to be here. And so I kind of raised my hand and said, I care about keeping people safe off road. And a lot of people have never done this before. So, what are some really basic things that they can um, use to approach this in a way that makes them feel like they're empowered to go out and to explore? And so, we're doing two trail runs, one that's more of an entry level one that's more advanced. And the day of the more entry level one, I'll kind of do like a 4 point um, class that really shows you the basics of how to get involved safely. And then the next day, the class will be kind of what's next after that. So, how do you appropriately plan, not just for yourself, but your family, your friends? How do you put together a comprehensive um, plan that's safe and sustainable, including all of the things that are hard to remember when you're throwing things in the gear tunnel, throwing things in the frunk. What's the checklist? What are the things that you need to have organized so that you're really set up for success?
Right. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask somebody that's in the background here to throw up the HTML or that the URL for the event, so anybody that's watching that doesn't know about it yet can go to it and um, and find it. So yep, it's just rivianclubs.org/king of the hammers with dashes in it with a backslash at the end. So if you want to join us out there, There's about 150 campsites, although I think we've done over 30 people that have joined already. And I know that the link is out to the general public now. So we're going to have a lot of people interested in this. It was really successful last year. Cam is doing a great job organizing it, and I think that it's going to be a fantastic beginning to the year. Okay, so I want to shift gears now. Actually, let's kind of talk about. I just want to go through real quick, and if you can throw up the graphic of the list of the events that are happening, or the list of the things that are happening here. So Matt mentioned that we're going to have organized trail rides. There'll be two. There you'll get a swag bag. Thursday you're getting both lunch and dinner, and then Friday you're getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've got restrooms there and on-site showers, which is fantastic because we're going to be out in the middle of the desert and going to get grimy and gritty, and it's nice to wash off. Each campsite that's reserved is 30 foot by 20 foot overnight space. And same people, Renewable Innovations that charged up the Rebel Rally are bringing their DC fast chargers out to the desert again, and some level 2 chargers. And we're going to have a bunch of, this is last year's, but we're going to have them all charged up by hydrogen power. So last year it was diesel. This year they've switched over to hydrogen, and it'll be really interesting to see that technology and be able to participate in that. We'll get private access to trailer park drift. So they're going to have go-karts, and they're going to have professional drift drivers drifting around and kind of showing off what's possible. And we all have drift mode in our trucks, and so it'll be a chance for us to learn what that kind of looks like, and then maybe there's a spot that we can go to that's good for that, as well as private access to a concert on Friday night. And so it's an amazing event. The ticket price is $350 for the truck and the driver, and then $150 for a second participant in that same truck. Sign up today. Can't wait to see everybody there. Yeah. Okay. That's just so much is happening. All right. So let's go and answer maybe if there's a couple of questions. Are there any questions from the audience about that particular event? I don't see any on the screen right now. But let's go ahead and transition, and let's bring on Matt. Thank you so much. You're welcome to stay. If you want to duck out, you're more than welcome. We'll talk really soon if not. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you on board, and congratulations.
Thank you, Arn. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you, meet more of the club members, and just see what we can do this year. I think we really are going to be a best in the world organization that makes a huge impact, something that I care deeply about, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Dan D asks, are there any provisions for recovery or mechanical failures? That is a really good question. I know I'll be bringing an extra tie rod with me. But I think that the Optima group is going to have official trail leaders, and I'm assuming that there will be a lot of recovery equipment there, as well as people that know how to use the recovery equipment. Pat, not yet. Hold tight. This happens on the East Coast that I'm aware of, but this is one thing that we're going to try and do is, as Matt said, we're going to have an in-person event here in Arizona in March at some point. And what we're looking to do is replicate that kind of an event throughout the country at different locations. That's an interesting. You're at the KOH, so King of the Hammers. Do you have an electric vehicle? I guess that's the question. If you have an electric vehicle, I don't see why not. I think there will be other vehicles that run with us. I think there's a couple Toyotas that are going to be there. I know that there's a couple Toyotas that have been converted that are going to be running with us. Event is 2 days. Camping, I think you're going to come in on the morning of the 1st, and then the first trail ride doesn't start until 10 a.m. And then, so you'll camp that Thursday night and then the Friday night. So, and then you can leave on that Saturday. You're also free to go to the King of the Hammers because your entrance fee for the EV, the Optima Oasis and the EV Unplugged gets you into all the King of the Hammer events as well. All right, that's a bunch of questions. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Matt, thank you, and I will see you soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next, I want to bring on Robert Powell, who has been, and I'm hoping that Ruben is here as well, so that they're two people that have been really instrumental in helping us develop a new website and a web ecosystem so that we can have a template to roll out for all the clubs so that everybody gets a website very soon that's integrated within the overall Rivian Clubs of America structure and shares information back and forth and makes it really easy for our members to find events that are near them and events that may be near them when they go on adventures. So without further ado, Robert, Ruben, thank you so much for coming. Let's go ahead and talk about websites.
Websites, they're good sites. No, I first off, I've got to say, huge kudos to Ruben for really spearheading the transition. We've done a lot of work behind the scenes trying to get everything up and running. Ruben's been absolutely a rock star, putting in way more hours than even I have. But he's also been instrumental in just working on solutions behind the scenes with me. So kudos to him. Thank you very much, Ruben, for having my back all the time. But yeah, a lot of this was brought up because the website that we had needed a real overhaul, and we needed the functionality to really move the Rivian clubs forward into the next generation of sites, and make it actually functional for everyone else and make it functional for the rest of the groups. So that's the driving force behind that. Ruben, you want to add anything?
Not really. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be able to work on this. And I definitely believe in the mission and the vision of RCA. And it's been an honor to be able to contribute some of my skills and some of my time towards furthering the goals of the group. So we've got a lot more work to do and a lot more exciting, cool things coming. So hang on for that. Again, like I said, there'll be a little bit of work to get us there. But I think everybody's going to be happy with the result. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect segue into kind of talking about what we've done, where we're at right now, and then the kind of the phases of what's coming next. So I'll let you guys go ahead and present.
Fair enough. If you can pull my slide deck up, I would appreciate it. So we basically, we nailed this into 4 phases. Phase 0 was where we were previously with the original RivianClubs.org site. I do also want to give huge kudos to Ben Williams. I think he's on the chat, and also Will Kern. Will has been an instrumental guy in getting just giving me some background as what was going on. And then Ben also was one of the original Bay Area guys that did the website, and he has also been extremely instrumental in helping with everything that's going on there. So phase 0 was basically the original move over from Squarespace to WordPress. This was done for a couple of reasons. One of them being that Squarespace kind of limited our access in the future. We didn't really have the ability to do plugs. We didn't do there was a lot of things that were there that really just didn't allow us to move forward to really stretch our legs to what we thought we could manage out of it. WordPress, of course, being more open sourced and also having a a great ecosystem for plugins, was instrumental in getting us forward from there. The other thing was that events were managed by one person only, me, and I missed a few of them, and for that I will apologize. But of course, adding the ability to create a submission system, whereas we had a ticketing system where people could actually submit their own events and move on. Then the next coming phases is going to be that we're actually going to be a kind of a redesign. We've the site, when we moved over, we intentionally made it as cut, copy, and paste as we could, because I'm not an artistic guy. I'll straight up admit I'm a code junkie. I can code it, and so can Ruben, but we're not artsy fartsy. And so one of the things that we are doing is we are going to open up the settings to say, hey, if you guys have any suggestions on how to make it more creative, we're more than open to hear them. Also, we want to go ahead and we want to get into the SEO optimization side of it and make sure that, when anyone goes onto Google and looks for it, they find us. And then, of course, the last major step is creating a template that we can say, when we bring new clubs online, within a matter of hours, we can say, okay, bring a new club online. And that club will then have a dedicated website, have a dedicated email, and everything will be mapped to the chapters page in the RCA. So as I said, phase one is done. We've created and cloned over the site. We've done all the technical jargon to it. We've made sure that it's moved over and it was securely done. Ruben, of course, manages this professionally as his day-to-day job. So it's hosted on an Amazon web server through Azure, and is totally set for 100% uptime. So hopefully we don't break it anytime soon. I have managed to break it a few times, but Ruben assures me that we're not going to break it anymore, at least this month. And then we're going to figure out how to actually get the Google Workspaces moved over, so that we can get all the club emails on there, and so that we manage and control everything from the Rivian Club side. The next thing that we're currently in the progress of doing, and we've had a couple of clubs experiment with this, Central Oregon Club has actually been one of my main guinea pig pages, as well as the Arizona Rivian Club have both been guinea pigs for this ticketing system. Is that we now have a submission page for doing events. So the clubs can now, the club presidents or the club officers can now actually create their own individual events. It gets submitted to the web administration system. The admins, so myself, Ruben, Ben, Will, Aaron, and a couple of others get emails saying, hey, there's a new event submission. We can go in and we can approve it or deny it. The only reason we would deny it is if there's a spelling error or if there is a blatant, bad word in there or anything that would be against the RCA policy. But more often than not, we're going to go and improve it or fix it and then improve it. And that way we can go ahead and we can, streamline the process where it's not going to be one person gating anymore for event submissions. So we can get that information out to the rest of the clubs in a timely manner. We have created it for both the club levels. So as I said, for like Central Oregon Club and Arizona, they have both a event submission page. Lodestar Rivian does also have one. But we're working on fixing that up just a little bit more, and then also Aaron at the national level has a submission page. So like for this event, for example, he could have done this. The King of the Hammers was done on the national level because it encompasses all the chapters. It doesn't include just California. And so now we've got this where we can go ahead and we can create this event, submit it, and go on. And then we can go spend more time on the trails. The next thing we want to work on is the design element upgrade. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to make it look better, shape better, feel better, do the full site redesign, we're more than eager to hear them. If you send an email to admin@rivianclubs.org, we would love to hear about it. And we're open to listening to any suggestions that are out there. The next big thing is we want to set up is we want to move to the club templates so that all the clubs have their own dedicated website. They have their own dedicated email. Ruben, of course, was not really guinea pig. He was selected because he was doing all this hard work. We may as well give him a web page as well for the time. So we wanted to make sure that his club page got used as the template. So a lot of the work that we did was based on the Rivian Buckeye State Club. And then we're starting to roll pages out. Just today, we rolled out Las Vegas. So the Las Vegas Rivian Club is now an active web page that's up and running. Got a whole bunch of things that we want to work on in the future. I'm not going to list all of them out here, but one of the big things is, of course, is adding the storefront and adding the ability to grab event-specific merch as well as club-specific or even national level merch, so that we can, show off how awesome that the RCA is. And then also, trying to bring the membership platform in line so that we can handle all that on the website without any major issues.
Yeah, so I want to just repeat what Robert said and thank Ruben for all of his hard work and his resources that he's put into making this happen. And I think that it's a really awesome step that we're taking because we're trying to really make it to be as useful as possible to the most number of clubs and get everybody kind of the access to the things that they really need to be able to communicate with the membership so that they can throw their events and have an awesome time. Because at the very core, the RCA, we always go back to, we're not here to be on the web together. We're here to be in person together, having adventures. And we're just trying to build the back end to be able to make that happen for as many people as we can. So thank you both for doing that. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Brock. Thank the whole web team that's been putting the time in and making this happen. And with that, I want to invite on two people who have gotten to use their guinea pigged website and kind of test it out a little bit and find some bumps in the road and let us know how they kind of feel about it. So I have invited the Central Oregon Rivian Club members, Jer and Roger, to join us, and they join us from Central Oregon. Is it outside there, guys?
Oh yeah, we had a first big snowstorm today, so good stuff. The pups love it.
Awesome. You're in snow mode already?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
well, thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
We're the chief guinea pigs, I guess, here. Oh, nice. That was from the Seattle space opening, right?
Yeah.
So we just a little background from our club's perspective. I mean, we loosely formed almost two years ago.
Yeah.
And we're just around a delivery event of one of the first vehicles to the area. So we kind of joked about being called our own Rivian Club, Central Oregon Rivian Club, and Cork was born. It was one of the earlier ones, and we're glad to have grown and now be part of RivianClubs.org, of course. We're here in the high desert of Central Oregon, so we're kind of in our own little area outside of Pacific Northwest proper. So it's just a mecca for Rivian, though. Like, I think per capita we're very high. It might only have about 100,000 people in Bend, but you can't go on a drive without seeing 5 or 6 Rivians, basically, which is pretty fun. People waving at each other. So anyway, we from early on, we thought about, we were just grassroots, Roger and I, for the most part, trying to hold people together and organize everyone, and just getting people's names and email addresses and that kind of thing. So it was pretty scrappy for a while. So it's been great now to evolve into this, and I think I was probably one of the squeaky wheels with Robert to become the guinea pig to allow us to get a site going, because I really debated about bringing one up, but knowing that it was semi imminent, I just thought it would be really great to just wait and help that process along. So thanks to Robert, Ruben, the whole team, from me personally, from us, for getting all their dedication and basically time that they're just volunteering for this, because it's a big effort. And so for us, it's been great. Our needs have been fairly simple initially, and the site has been performing great. Basically we've just been suggesting things, little things here or there, design wise and other, but for the most part, it was most important for us to get a site for presence that we could communicate to people, and then just have our basic information on, some photos, get people excited in the area, ability to connect a little bit more, and then now extending to being able to publish our events there is really awesome, because now we have a good central spot for pointing people to, and that seems to be working well. I think Roger's been our main event poster, so I don't know what you want to do about that.
Yeah, as Roger's talking about it, let's go ahead and pull up the main events page that's tied to the rivianclubs.org, and we can kind of go through and show people the power that we're building into the system, so that and then tell us about your experience, Roger. I mean, you now are the most you have the most events.
Well, I've been holding back a little bit too. I will say, while Jer was the squeaky wheel to become a guinea pig site, I'm probably the person that made Robert maybe second guess that decision to be the guinea pig site. Although I will say, this autumn, user submitted event portal, no doubt freed him up, and maybe that was part of his motivation to keep me from pestering him so much. Because I think we have maybe 14 events up currently, with more to come. And I know in the previous system where we had to submit them to Robert to then publish them, this would have been untenable, and particularly when you scale that across multiple clubs. So yeah, as I said, the old process was a little cumbersome and time consuming, and just kind of a nag on everyone involved. And the new portal, I don't know if that could be useful to show. I don't know how accessible or handy that is, Scott, for event submissions. It's pretty much a breeze. And over the last week or so, Robert and perhaps Ruben as well have been kind of optimizing a few things that we noticed when we started posting events. This is an example of an event we have on MLK Day. We'll be volunteering at a wildlife hospital and rehabilitation organization to help prepare them for some new infrastructure. So basically site cleanup and that sort of thing really aligns nicely with us.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to highlight about this is that by going from the national website page to this particular event, it takes you to the Central Oregon Rivian Club's page.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of embeds their events not only within their own page, but it brings it to the national page. So if somebody really wanted to participate this, and let's say they lived in Vermont and they wanted to drive all the way out to participate in this, they would know about it from the national site, then they'd be able to go to the local site for the Central Oregon and find it immediately right there.
Yeah.
It also makes it so that if you're traveling, you can go to the national site and then you can find the people that are at the local sites and you can contact them directly. I think it's a really powerful way to bring us all together, even if we're not from Central Oregon, but we're traveling through Central Oregon. We can see if there's a fun event to participate in as we swing through and make our new friends and family and community stronger by growing those bonds. I think it's a really fantastic.
Yeah, I would say it's also really helpful for our neighboring kind of sister clubs, you know, whether it's Portland or, you know, getting a little further out to, you know, maybe Boise is Boise. I don't know if Boise's an official RCA,
Yep.
but you know, it just kind of in the general geography. You know, we're working with Bruce and Terry on some multi-club events with the Portland Club Pork as we dawn to them, and I think the moniker stuck, Pork and Cork. So we've got some fun combined events coming up, and this will allow us to kind of organize those and have both kind of the people in the Portland geography see stuff that, you know, we're coordinating together.
Absolutely. And it's going to help our Southern California clubs be able to do the same thing, as well as the Bay Area Club and Sierra Nevada. We throw things together. And so I think it's going to be a really great way for us to participate in good events, as well as on a national level, be able to post the things that Matt and I were talking about earlier, where we have regional meetups and regional things that happen that are just through the national club. Obviously, we will partner with the clubs that are closer and have them be hosts of those regional things. And this will give us access to all of that stuff in a new and kind of exciting way, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to add a couple of things just on the website in general. One is it adds a great deal of legitimacy to us as a club, because when you hear, oh, you know, we lead the Central Oregon Rivian Club, and people go, oh, that's cute. But when you see the site and the parent site of Rivian Clubs of America, you realize how large this organization really is. So that's been really beneficial. And the other thing I wanted to add is we've had, you know, quite a few new members that came to us via the website. Previously, you know, I was the chief stalking officer, or whatever Jared terms me, where I just look at all the socials, DM people, wait for people to get back to their vehicles at market of choice or whatever it is, you know. But now we've got sufficient inertia, and particularly with the website, that it's just a search away to find us and reach out, and that's pretty exciting. And it's exciting to see Robert's presentation too of what's coming. Those are some things we'd love to see as well.
It's really great also to, you know, we can just say, go to rivianclubs.org and find us there. You know, it's an easy, memorable way of locating us that we don't have to hand something to someone. And then they get exposure to the whole club. I mean, the whole organization, they can find the club and so forth. So for that part, it's been really useful as well.
Yeah. And Robert just answered a question that came through about whether or not those are shareable on social media accounts doing for outreach, because I know we utilize multiple social media platforms to do outreach for our own clubs, and Robert said that they are there. We can use those for that kind of outreach stuff, and it's a really nice way to integrate into those kind of grassroots ways in which we have grown up starting to communicate with our clubs. Like Arizona really uses the WhatsApp to communicate, whereas there's other clubs that use Facebook or other clubs that use other platforms to communicate. And so it makes it nice to be able to translate into those other platforms.
Absolutely. And as a smaller club with just Jer and I as the only leadership currently, it's a lot to juggle with all various social accounts and that sort of thing, and having some more automation built in will go a long way to kind of freeing up our time to actually get out with the vehicles and our members and all that.
Yeah. So Dina is talking about just that, like how do we integrate chat threads and how are we doing that? Right now, it's not through the website. But like I mentioned, WhatsApp is a channel that's available. We have club sites on the WhatsApp. I know there's a lot of clubs that still use Rivian Stories as a way to have that chat channel. There are clubs out there that are using Discord. Other clubs are using Reddit. Other clubs are using Facebook. And like, I think part of what we want to do is we want to give those ecosystems that already exist more power. We don't necessarily want to convert everybody to coming to our site, but we want to give everybody the tools that are necessary to make that work. And if you're just starting a club and you don't know, having access to different tools and different people that use those tools is another thing that we can provide here at the Rivian clubs. So yeah, it's awesome. I think the future is really bright. I'm really excited to see where 2024 takes us. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on a snowy day when you could be out there twirling around doing pirouettes with your R1Ss and
Actually,
R1Ts.
we each have new puppies, so we'd be out playing in the snow with the puppies probably.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk to you all soon.
All right, ciao.
Ciao. All right. So that's it. That's what we've got. Are there any remaining questions that you may have for me? And if you want to pull Robert in or you want to pull anybody else in, yes. Yes, that is next on the agenda of items that we're going to be talking about. There's before we can really start talking about club dues, we are still waiting on the IRS to give us a tax ID number. So if you're listening, Mr. Taxman, please tickle those keys and make a tax ID number for us. But we are talking about that. We've got some exciting things coming up, and we will announce that in another President's Campfire chat soon. So stay tuned. I see Brock. Hey, Brock. Nice to see you. Thank you. All right, so I am really hoping that a lot of you can come to the Optima Unplugged event, and we can all meet there. Because, like I said before, this is about making a system where we can all get together and hang out and have adventures together. So, thank you all very much. We will talk to you very shortly.